Hello, my name is Ryan and welcome back to our weekly garden videos at Spice Home and Garden. And today I'm going to be talking to you about everyone's favorite tomato or tomato, depending on where you're from. And we're going to go through some quick tips for beginners, very basic things that you can get started growing your tomatoes this season. This season is upon us. It is right now would be the best time to start thinking about your tomatoes, and growing them in your greenhouse or your polytunnel, or somewhere very nice and warm and sunny, like your conservatory. So, basic things. Well, what if you were to come into the shop and say what tomatoes or tomatoes you want? There are two different main types: indeterminate and determinate. Now, those are fancy terms for indeterminate means it's just going to keep growing and growing until the season is over. And determinate, that plant says, this is my size, this is what I'm going to go to, and these are the amount of fruits that I'm going to produce. Normally, the determinate just produce one time, sometimes two, and then they're done for the season. But a lot of the other ones are well worth the effort of training them because you continuously get lovely fruits for the entire season. So, let's say location is another big thing. Because they're originally from South America, the plants love sunny, warm positions. Because we're in Ireland, it's crucial to do in a polytunnel or a conservatory or even a covered space, which is crucial for them to get that warmth. Through the end of this month, I would recommend maybe getting some frost protection, some fleece, just for those chilly nights that we might have for a couple more weeks. After that, no holds barred. Keep going. Keep growing. So, my next suggestion would be after you get it in your polytunnel or your greenhouse, and you decide you want to plant up your indeterminate, the one that keeps growing, how do you plant it up? There's several different ways to do that. As it grows, you can get yourself some bamboo and put it around in the soil and train it up. Or, one of my favorites is a lovely little trick with twine. This, you create a little loop, take this out, and then you dig your hole and you put a little bit of the twine underneath the roots in the ground, and then this you tie up to the top of your conservatory or your polytunnel with a loose knot, and then you wrap this around as it grows. And that is a really, really handy trick to make sure that you have all the space that you need for these bad boys to grow. So, the next thing would be watering and feeding. I would say once a week after these start to flower, then that's when you were to feed them. With your liquid feed like a Big Tom or anything like that would be the crucial time for when they are really hungry and they want to produce flowers and fruits. If you start feeding them too early, they'll get very leggy and long, and it'll kind of get fluffy and all over the place, and you don't really want that. So, the next tip that I have for you, if you can come in here, some people call them suckers, but they're lateral shoots, and if you can see that there, those will grow its own plant, and that's another stem, and it'll keep growing out this way, and it'll produce its own flowers and fruits and things like that. And that's great if you want it that way, but it gets a little untidy and it's hard to manage and hard to harvest as well, because they just kind of get all over the place. So as you see these, my suggestion is to just pluck them off. That's it. When they get a bit longer, you might have to pull it one way and the other way until you hear a snap, and then right off. Very easy. Later on in the season, they get very, very vigorous, and they will want to produce side shoots a lot. So you kind of stay on top of those, and then you can have a nice, easy to harvest, straight up tomato plant, which is lovely for the season. So the feeding, watering, it's best to underwater than overwater. Just once a week, feeding once a week, maybe twice a week with the water if it's really sunny and hot and dry. Other than that, there's a lot of diseases that come along with too much water, funguses and things like that, pathogens that transfer. So more on the drier side than on the wet side. Let's see, what else can I think of? Pot size. If you want to put it in a pot, for one plant, this is a good size. You can maybe put 2 in this if you train it upright, which is fine. If you have it in your raised bed, that's totally fine as well. We also have these grow bags here where you can put 3 in 1, and they have a lovely little cutout for you, which is really handy. If you don't want to go with that, I would go with a general purpose and a farmyard manure with the compost mix, because they love rich, good soil. And then you have all your other extra bits. If you want to get fancy later on, you can come in and we can talk about that. But for now, that's mostly what I have for you. If I think of anything else, I might create another video. But for now, I'm going to say bye and hope to see you soon. Cheers.